Camp 1, and we are glad you've joined us. If you're online joining us, we're glad to have you. Let us start with recitation, because that will get our mind in Latin, okay? And I think that'll help us. So let's start with Tara. Tara, Tarai, Tarai, Taram, Tara, Tarai, Taram, Taris, Taras, Taris, Sirwas, Sirwas, Sirwi, Sirwo, Sirwam, Sirwo, Sirwi, Sirworm, Sirwi, Sirwo, Sirwis, Belam, Belam, Beli, Belo, Belam, Belo, Bella, Belorum, Belish, Bella, Belish. Lex. Lex, Legis, Legi, Legem, Legas, Legace, Legum, Legibus, Legace, Legibus. Flumen. Flumen, Fluminis, Flumini, Flumen, Flumine, Flumina, Fluminum, Fluminibus, Flumina, Fluminibus. Pertus. Pertus, Pertus, Pertui, Pertum, Pertu, Pertus, Pertum, Portibus, Pertus, Portibus, Pertus, Portibus. Okay, race. Race, rem, ray, race, rerum, rebus, race, rebus. And let's do sum, okay, in the present tense. Sum, est, sumus, estis, sunt. Excellent, excellent. Okay, so questions. Let me ask you some questions. What is a noun?
Person, place, in activity.
Or idea. Yep, that's right. What are noun families called?
Declensions.
Declensions. How many declensions are there? 5. What do we call those declensions?
First, second, third, fourth, fifth declension?
Yes, first, second, third, fourth, fifth declensions. Okay, who can name the cases for me? Okay.
Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and ablative.
Excellent. Nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, ablative. What does the word case mean?
The noun job.
The job, right? The job the noun does. So now who can tell me what the job is of each case? Okay.
Nominative, subject, genitive, possessive, dative, indirect object, accusative, direct object, ablative, object of the preposition.
Perfect. Okay, got it? Okay.
What is that? What is ablative?
Object of the preposition. But it really is more than that. As you keep going in Latin, you discover that it means lots of different things. If there's something that needs a job, it's usually put in the ablative case if it's not a subject or a genitive or indirect object. It gets stuck in the ablative. Okay? How do you know what declension a word belongs to? You want to take that one? Okay. Anybody? Okay?
The ending of the genitive singular.
Okay, the genitive singular is what tells you what declension a word belongs to. So, first declension words all end in what 2 letters in the genitive singular? A-E. Well, look who's coming in. I won't announce it on YouTube or Ustream.
Yeah, don't
okay.
call on me.
Okay, no, I'm not. Don't let your voice be heard. Okay, so A-E, we say that I. How about second declension? How do we know a word is second declension?
I with a macron.
I with a macron in the genitive singular, and how do we pronounce that?
E.
E. Okay, how about third declension? How do we know a word is third declension? I-S, is, right? Good. How about fourth declension? Us. U-S with a macron, us. Okay, and fifth declension?
E-I.
E-I, and we say E, right? For that. Okay, good. Good job. So you guys got your declensions all down. Okay. How do we know the gender of a declension? Okay, what gender is first declension?
Feminine.
Feminine. Second declension?
Masculine or neuter.
Good. Third declension? All 3, masculine, feminine, neuter. How about fourth? Mostly masculine. And fifth? Feminine. Mostly feminine, except for the word day. Okay, anybody remember though, what is the rule called that trumps all of the rules? Natural gender rule, which means that if it names a masculine or feminine being, no matter what it is, it will be masculine or feminine. You guys got it. Okay, so you ready to go on? Okay, I want you to turn in your purple book, okay, to lesson number 6. It's a very short lesson.
Can you give us a page number?
Page 64.
Thank you.
It's called Nouns with Special Meanings in the Plural, okay? And like the first two words on this page are castra, castrorum. You will only see this word in the plural, okay? Now, castra looks a little singular, doesn't it? But if you notice, what is the genitive plural here? Aurum. So that tells us what declension do we have?
Second.
Excellent. Second declension, okay? So both these words are second declension plural only. Castra, castrorum, and impedimenta, impedimentorum, okay? You'll notice they mean camp, or baggage, baggage train, okay? All right, so don't look for those in the singular. Okay, then you have two sets of words that mean one thing in the singular and something different in the plural. You really need to study these this week to get them in your mind, okay? And then you'll have them in your mind. So, for instance, gratia, gratiae, that's a singular. You can tell because the genitive singular ends in AE. That means favor, influence, or grace. In the plural, gratiae, gratiarum means thanks. Okay, you're going to use that a lot with a go. I give thanks. Okay. The next two, you'll use copiously. Okay, get where I get the word copiously from? Copia, copiae, supply or abundance. Copiae, copiarum, troops and forces. Now those don't even look related, right? But just remember that supply sort of sounds like a singular word, right? Abundance, it's not abundances, it's not supplies. So those are the singular. Troops ends in S, forces ends in an S, so those will go along with the plural. Okay? I hope that makes sense to you. Okay? Then you have two new verbs. Okay, and I want to point these out because they do a little bit possuerunt is they put or they placed. If it's with the word castra, then it means pitch. So they pitched camp. Otherwise, you're going to use it put or place. So you put a glass on the table. Okay? You only use I pitched with the word camp. And a gunt means they give, and you're going to use it with gratia. They give thanks. Okay, a gunt. Gratias a gunt. They give thanks. Deo. How about Deo gratias a gunt? Anybody know what that means?
We give thanks to God.
To God. And I put God in what case? Deo.
The direct
Dative case, because what did I use? Indirect object. They gave what or who? They gave thanks, which is your direct object, to God. Your indirect object will be in the dative case. Good job. Okay? So that's that chapter. Okay?
I don't understand, when you're saying they give thanks.
Uh-huh. I just added a word, Deo. So you guys could...
But I'm confused why the
Okay.
S.
Okay, so let me just write up what I wrote. Deo gratias and agunt. Okay. So your question is what?
I get it now.
Okay.
This is the direct object.
This is it, direct object. They give who or what? They give thanks. And remember, this means what in the plural? It means thanks. What does it mean in the singular?
Grace.
Grace, favor. So it's not going to be they give grace to God, because then it would be gratiam. Okay? Gratias means thanks in the plural. Okay, does that sort of make sense? Okay. So we're done with that chapter. We went through that pretty fast. Sorry you guys missed the whole chapter. You have to read it in the whole chapter quick. I know. Oh. And you sit through both classes, so you've already had that chapter. Okay, so we're going to skip over the review, and we're going to go to one of the favorite things in Latin, adjectives. Okay, now what is an adjective?
Her and her only.
Yes. Well, you missed, we've already, last week, okay, let me just say this one more time. Last week, we got to the end of semester 1 in Challenge A. Okay? So they take the whole semester to where we got in 3 weeks. Just in case you want to keep everything in perspective of how fast we're going in here.
I don't think we got to adjectives till.
Yes, actually you did. Oh, yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So, but let's talk about adjectives. Let's just talk about what an adjective is. Who's got that for me? Boy, my class grew. Okay.
Modifies a noun or a pronoun.
Okay, it modifies a noun or pronoun. What else can we say besides the word modify? Describes. Okay, sometimes it, describes a noun or pronoun. Okay? Just like in English, somebody give me an example in English. Like
camper.
Blue shirt. Okay?
I have a blue pen.
A blue pen. Okay, blue is the adjective, pen is the noun, right? Same thing in Latin. There's no difference. You're going to have an adjective and you're going to have noun. Okay, so if we say the blue pen is writing on the paper, what is the blue pen there? The subject, right? The subject. Okay, it doesn't change. What if we say I like the blue pen?
Still the subject.
No.
It's a direct object then.
Yeah,
But in English it stays the same, but in Latin that just doesn't happen. Okay, so in Latin we have to make adjectives and nouns agree. Okay, they have to agree in 3 different ways. Does anybody remember those 3 ways that adjectives and nouns agree? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to write this down, and you might want to write this down too. This is a good one. Adjectives must agree with their nouns in number, case, and gender, and there's a big but. But, we'll circle that, but not declension. Okay, and this is so important. So let's just say this together, because this is a really important concept. Adjectives must agree with their nouns in number, case, and gender, but not declension. Okay? And here's why. There's 2 different kinds of adjectives in Latin. There's first, second declension adjectives, and there's third declension adjectives. But for instance, we had a blue pen. Well, it could be a blue shirt, it could be a blue table, it could be a blue book, and it's going to be the same in Latin. You're going to have the word good, bonus, and you might have a good girl, you might have a good king, you might have a good table. Well, table really can't be good. But you see what I'm saying? So the nouns will be from different declensions, okay? And so will your adjectives, okay? So let's first talk a little bit about first, second declension adjectives, okay? Now, what I like about this is there's nothing new to learn, okay? Have you all learned your 5 declensions? You can recite them? You feel like you got those under your belt? Okay. Do you have a card to look at? Okay. We're all in different places and we're all trying and we just keep working. But if you know the first 2 declensions, then you can do first, second declension adjectives because the endings are exactly the same. Okay? And I'll show you how that works. When you see a first, second declension adjective in your book, this is how it's going to be given. Bona, okay? All first, second declension adjectives will be given like this. Now, if you notice, this one ends in us, like what? Second declension masculine. So immediately my mind goes, it's Sir was. Okay? That's declined just like Sir was. Okay? Bona is like what word?
Bonus.
Tara.
No, sorry.
Like Tara. Okay? So I'm going to think of Tara, our first declension model. And what do you think this one is? Like Velma. Okay? So If your noun happens to be masculine, you'll use this one. If your noun is feminine, you're going to use this model. Does that make sense? But you already know these. Sir was, Tara, and Bella. You already know them. Okay, so this will be feminine. And then, what's this one? Neuter. Okay, now I'm going to show you, don't get too nervous yet, because I'm going to show you how this works. Okay? Let us look at, we'll start with a good slave. Okay? So I've told you what the word is for good, and I've told you what the word is for slave. I didn't write for slave though. Okay? So let's write good slave. Okay? Who wants to do that? What am I going to write on here?
Does the adjective come first, or does it follow the noun like Spanish? It depends on the verb.
Well, it depends on the noun.
It depends on the adjective.
Thank you. It depends on the adjective. Okay? So, in Latin, adjectives sometimes come before the noun and sometimes come after the noun. Now, Daviana, do you remember which is which?
Not really.
Okay. Anybody? Do you remember? Anybody? Okay.
Quantity is before and quality is after.
Okay, so remember this. If an adjective describes quantity, how big, how many, how large, how small, it comes first. If it's describing a quality, like that blue pen we were talking about, it would come afterwards. Okay? So what do you think about this word bonus? Is that going to come before or after? After, right? So we'll put our word for slave or servant first. Sir was bonus. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, now what if we wanted to say, good we don't have the word for table, do we? Let me see if I can find a first declension.
Taylor.
Yeah, I don't want to use that one yet, because that one gets a little tricky. But I am going to do that. I know, but there's not many, there's lots of tricks.
This is Latin we're talking about.
Okay, good earth. Let's do good earth, because that's what we got here. So what's good earth going to look like?
The same.
So I'm going to do
You have to do the noun first.
noun first. What's the word for earth?
Terra.
Terra. And then what endings will?
Bona.
Bona. Okay, because earth is feminine. Good is feminine. Earth is singular. Good is singular. Earth is nominative. Good is nominative. Okay? Let's do another one. How about a good reward? What are we going to... Yep, you got the word for reward. Who's got it?
Premium.
Premium. Okay, premium. Premium, and then what ending? Remember, number, case, and gender. So what ending am I going to go here?
No, it'll be
UN, right? Because premium is neuter, so bonum has to be neuter. Okay, did you write this down? Okay, now we can decline these. Okay, because we're not always going to have our adjectives in the subject case, correct? Right, so we have to be able to decline them. Now, here, it's really straightforward because we have all first, second declension words together. Okay? So it's really easy. We can do sir was, sir we, sir wo, sir wom, sir wo, and sir was bonus, sir we boni. Okay? Sir wo, bono, sir wom, bonum. Does that make sense so far? Mm-hmm. What's going to be right here? Sir wo, bono. Excellent. Okay? You got what we're doing here? Okay? I'm not going to write them all out to save a little time. What if instead of the good slave, I wanted to say the good king? Okay? Who knows the word for king?
Rex.
Rex, right? Rex. So we're going to change this. to Rex, okay? Now, what declension is Rex? Third, and so what's our genitive singular? Regis. Okay, so we got Rex bonus, Regis boni, then what do we got? Regi bono. How about here?
Regem.
Regem bonum.
Regem.
Reget bono. Now, do you see that endings don't look alike? Because they're not the same declension. This is a first, second declension word, and it will only be declined in the first or second declension, but it can modify a third declension word. So therefore, you have third declension endings on the noun, first, second declension endings on the adjective. Okay? Why don't we do that over here too? So somebody give me a third declension feminine, or it could be fourth or fifth. How about fifth? Somebody give me a fifth declension word.
Race.
Race, okay, we got race. What does that mean?
Thing or affair.
Thing or affair. So we got race, bona, then what are we going to have here? Rei,
Bonai.
bonai. You guys are good. What do I got here?
Rei. Bonai.
Rei, bonai. How about here?
Ram.
Ram,
Bonam.
bonam. And how about here?
Ram.
Ray,
Bonam.
bona. That, is this clear? I need to know if you guys have any questions of how this works. Okay? So you'll come, it's hard to know what it's modifying, except if you know what declension each word belongs to, so you can identify the case, and you can say, oh, those are both. Look, even though they don't have the same endings, I know that's a good thing, because they're both accusative singular. Does that make sense? Okay, now, Daviana said something about sailor, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Okay, that's sort of an unusual case, so I'm going to erase these and talk about that one. Okay, so what's the word for sailor? Nata, natai. What declension?
First.
First. But what gender? Okay, so we put this down, nata, we're going to do good. Okay, so which one of these are we going to use?
Bonus.
Bonus, right? Because they have to agree in number, case, and gender. Since this is masculine, okay, even though they're both first, second declension, they're not going to look alike because genders have to match. Okay? And now, oh no. Okay? Any questions about this? Okay? You'll get, turn to page 73. So you can look, I wanted to show you that you might already be there. You can see, these first declension adjectives, you're getting them all looking the same. And you see them all there? Okay? And I know you'll read this all about adjective noun agreement. Okay? Let's do a couple of exercise 85 before we move on. Okay? So let's do with many soldiers. Okay? Go ahead and try to do it on your own. Okay? With many soldiers. The word for many, does somebody want to tell us what it is? Multas aum. So I always want to, you always want to keep in mind, okay, then you know it's first, second declension adjective. Okay, so you got that as your many. And then the word, anybody know, remember the word for soldiers? Okay, so Malay, militis, good. Malay, militis. Okay, so now we got to figure this out. Has anybody done it yet? What do we need first? The preposition. What is the preposition? Right. Come or cum. Okay. With. Now, what case does with take? Remember, prepositions take cases, right? Ablative, yes. So, now, so our words here, our noun and our adjective are going to be in what case? The ablative case, because cum takes the ablative case. Now, which word is going to come first here? The adjective or the noun? It's with many soldiers.
Many would be a quantity, so it would come first.
Okay. Okay, so our adjective is going to come here. Okay. When we're doing this, we always deal with our noun first. Okay. So let's figure out our noun. So, who has for me our noun? In the right case, the right number. Yes, militivus. Okay, militivus. Okay, so now we've got our noun. Before we can get our adjective, we have to say to ourselves, number, case, gender. So what do we got here?
Male.
Okay, we got masculine, we have plural,
Ablative.
and ablative. Yep, ablative case. Okay, so we want to get the same thing here with this. So see if you can figure out in your mind what you're going to have. You can sort of go down. Which model are you going to use? Sir West, Tara, or Bella? Sir West, right? And so we want ablative plural of Sir West is what? East. So multis, militivus. See how I came up with that? Okay, you have to have that agreement. So let's do another one. Let's do number 10. On account of a great fear of the Romans. Okay, so what's the first thing we have to do?
Preposition.
The preposition. Who knows what the preposition is here? Propter. Okay, good. So then what do we have to ask ourselves when we have a preposition?
What case?
What case it takes. Excellent. So what case does propter take? Accusative. You guys are studying. Okay. So we know this is going to take accusative case. So now what are we doing? On account of a great fear. Okay, which word is going to go first? Your adjective or your noun?
Noun.
Why do you choose adjective? You are oh so right, Aviana.
Oh,
Because
because
it's
it's
large,
quantity.
It's a quantity. Great. Has to do with size.
Large sphere.
So we'll put our adjective here, quantity. Okay? So we're not going to deal with adjectives yet. Remember, we always deal with the noun first. So what's the noun here? Fear. What's the word for fear? Metus. Okay? You got, okay, you want an accusative case, right? Okay, so metum. Okay, on account of the fear. Now let's break this down so we know how to make our adjective agree. We have number. What do we got? Number. Singular. We already said what case. What case is it? Accusative. And what gender? Masculine, because it's what declension? Fourth declension. Okay? So we got singular, accusative, masculine. So we need to put our adjective singular, accusative, masculine. So what is our adjective here? What's the word? Magnus aum. Okay, but we have to have it singular, accusative, masculine. So what is it? What's the ending going to be? Magnum. Okay, magnum. Okay. Now they look the same, even though this one's fourth declension, this one's second declension. Coincidentally, they look the same. Okay? They wouldn't have to. Okay. Do you guys understand how this works? Before I move on to the next declension adjectives, do you have any questions? You see, everybody seems to be catching it. But if that's not true, I want you to speak now. Okay? Okay, so what kind of adjectives were these? First, second. Okay, so the only other kind of adjectives there are third declension. Okay, which is very nice. And this is how you will get a third declension in your vocab. Okay, it will be bra with S. Okay, Does anybody know why there's only 2 endings? No.
Oh, the
Yeah.
same, yeah.
Remember how we talked about lex can be both masculine and feminine? Well, that's just like this. Okay, so this one is both masculine and feminine. They're going to be the same. And this is your neuter. Okay? Now, we're going to decline this. We're going to do it. You can do it on your paper. I'll do it on the board. So you can see some differences. There's a few differences with lex that I would like to point out. So we have gra with, I'm going to start way over here and do all 3. Gra with, gra with, gra with. Okay. Everybody do that?
Is that the singular and the side?
Exactly. Yep. Good noticing. Singular, plural.
The accusative neuter is just.
Ah, thank you. Good. Okay. I love to be caught. Okay. Why is this grawe instead of grawe? Gaviana?
And neuter, the nominative and accusative are always the same.
Are always the same. Remember, neuter nouns, nominative and accusative always have to be the same. Excellent. Okay, something else?
It's not that way for masculine or feminine.
Exactly.
No.
Neuter.
Like the left.
Okay. Do you notice anything different from lex?
The em, was it the em that you're talking about? With plural, genitive?
Oh, okay, good. Let me get a different color.
Because I've never understood that.
Okay, well, this is sort of like pars here. You know, pars does this too. So instead of just it's em.
So it's
Okay.
it's just depending on the word? Because I've never
Well,
understood
all the
why you pick
adjectives
that.
in third declension have ium.
Yeah, but what about the noun?
Oh, you know what? You missed that lesson.
Yeah.
But you can go on Ustream and watch it. Okay? So I'm just gonna point that out. Actually, it's also on YouTube. Declension 3. There's 2 rules. You know what? Somebody tell Gaviana how you know if a word is declined like lex or pars. Okay? Remember we got that?
1 syllable, nominative, singular, ends in 2 consonants.
Exactly. That's one way. And somebody else with the other way? You got it?
Nominative and genitive.
Yeah, nominative and genitive are the same number of syllables.
Exactly. So that's how you know.
Sorry.
If the 1 syllable word ends in 2 consonants or the nominative and genitive have the same number of syllables, it's like pars, and it will have the ium in the genitive plural. Okay, there's one more difference here. Okay, thank you. Notice, what is this usually? The letter E, but with adjectives it's the letter I. Okay, so that will trick you. Okay, and you're going to probably forget this unless you do what I do. You get a color and you sort of circle it to give yourself that remembrance.
What do you mean it's usually the letter?
Okay, well I'm going to show you right now. So if we want to say the serious law, okay, in the ablative case, okay? Serious law in the ablative case, we would have lege rauis, okay? They should agree, so they should both, if it was third declension, because these are both third declension words, the noun, third declension, adjective, but adjectives, third declension, the ablative singular, and then the letter I. And nouns end in the letter E. We just have to learn that. There's, you know, I don't really know why, and that's just the way it is. And sometimes we just memorize things without knowing why.
Wait, so just in this word, it ends in the letter E, it is an adjective.
Any third declension adjectives in the ablative singular will end in the letter I. And you have a chart. Let me tell you what page that chart is on, in case you want to look. What, you got it open?
Page 16.
Page 16. Okay?
The light blue book.
Grammar book?
In the grammar book, yes.
78.
Okay.
Page numbers on Kindle.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know there was a Kindle version. Okay, so, but remember, masculine and feminine are exactly the same. Do you see that? There's no differences. Hence, that's why there's just two terminations. Okay? Is, at. Okay? And you're going to see those are the same. Okay? So how do you know what's what? You know, you'll be able to tell by your noun. Okay, so shall we do some practicing of this with third? Okay. I want you to decline strong man. Okay? Strong man. Now, strong is a new adjective, but it's one you're going to use over and over again. I would venture a guess that you'll use the adjective, third declension adjective strong more than any other third declension adjective. Or brave, strong or brave. Okay? So, what is that word? Fortis, right? So we know our adjective is fortis. And what's the word for man? Homo. And always give it to me with the genitive. Homo. Hominis, right? Okay, good. Okay, so now I want you to decline those.
The strong man, not man.
We'll do it singular and plural. Strong man and strong man.
So strong quality, so the adjective follows the noun?
Exactly. Okay, I'll start doing it. Check yours, make sure you got what I got. This one's a little bit straightforward because why is this one straightforward?
They're in the same declension.
They're in the same declension, okay? So it sort of looks the same, except you got right here and right here. Now, instead of the strong man, leave your strong there and do the strong sailor, okay? Okay, so you do the strong sailor, okay? See why it's so important to memorize your declensions? Because if you know these, this is like a piece of cake, right? And you know what word belongs to what declension, we've got a first, second declension noun, a third declension adjective.
Two questions.
You got it.
When they give us an adjective, so let's take A, is that the nominative
Yes.
case?
Yes.
They're giving us?
Mhm. They're giving you the nominative case.
Okay, and,
And no genitive, right? It's just the nominative, masculine, feminine, neuter, no genitive, yes.
and when the adjective, the ablative ends in the E, does that just follow the neuter I stem rule?
Which is, you wanna read us that rule?
It just says a regular I stem nouns, it's talking about nouns, but it looks like the adjectives are following this rule. These endings in small letters with a few irregular spellings for nouns with different conditions called I stems. Some I stems are neuter.
And we don't really do a lot of that in this course, so I'm not sure we'll bring that into bear in here. Okay. Now, before we go on, let's look at exercise 95. Oh, before we do that, let's talk about, do you remember how we did predicate nominatives? And what was the predicate? How does that work? How does the to be verb work? Do you remember? They're both nominative, right? So, Jesus is God. Jesus would be in the nominative case. God would be in the nominative case. Well, the same thing is going to go with predicate adjectives, okay? God is good means they'll both be in the nominative case also. So, Deus est bonus, okay? I think that's pretty clear. And you'll read it in your book, but I just wanted to point that out. Okay. Now, exercise, you're getting a new preposition, pro, okay? Pro always takes the ablative case. That's on page 77. It means in front of, on behalf of, okay? Read that carefully. You can also use for, he prays for all people, or on behalf of all people. Okay, that was back in lesson 7. Now lesson 8, okay, exercise 95. I want to do we've done a lot of this declining, but let's look at 95 part 3, where we're going to put these in different cases, okay? So take number 2, which means every Christian. Put it in the ablative singular, the nominative plural, and put it in the genitive plural for me. Okay? So we're doing 3, number 2, A, B, and C. See, number 2, on this Christianus, A, B, and C, ablative singular, nominative plural, and genitive plural. Nominative omnes Christianus. So we're going to do ablative singular. Nominative plural.
I'm sorry, which exercise is it?
I'm sorry, 95. They all come around.
Page 93.
So we're going to do this one in all those 3 cases.
Oh, okay.
So check yours when you're done against mine and see if I'm wrong.
Okay, somebody help me. What declension is Christianus?
Second.
Cerus.
How did you know that? How did you know Christianus was second masculine?
Because masculine is US.
And how do we know it's second declension?
Because the US.
No, that, the
Christianus.
US doesn't get a second, because that could be fourth or third.
I.
The genitive singular of Christiana is Christiani. So when we learn our words, remember we learn the nominative and the genitive, Christianas, Christiani.
Doesn't ominous mean all?
Mm-hmm.
Each, it also means each, or every. So this would be every Christian, this would be all Christians, okay? Hence, I'm glad that happened, because that goes to show that when we're memorizing our vocab, we have to memorize every meaning, okay? Because mostly, I've also memorized that word as meaning all. But it's important that we know in the singular it's going to mean each, or every, okay? Do you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Did you get anything different than what I had?
I'm just trying to process it
Okay.
here.
Did anybody get anything
Too
different?
slow yet to try to get it up here.
Okay. You want to try one more? Because you guys aren't talking, so I'm not convinced I've taught this to you yet. Let's do number 4.
This is a third declension adjective.
Third declension adjective, and what kind of noun? Second declension. Okay, and we're just doing 3 cases. We're not declining them all. Okay, because they just want you to practice on the ones that are a little bit different. Okay, and remember, you're going to go way back and start and go a lot slower as you do the exercises. I'm hoping you guys are all doing your exercises, because it's going to be hard to progress if you're not doing that. But let's do this one. Breve iter. Okay? Okay, now the word is short. It's breve, and then we'll put the E there. Does anybody know what iter means? Journey, route, or march, right? Okay. What's the genitive singular? Iter. Itinerant. Good. That changes. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put it in the ablative singular, nominative plural, and genitive plural. Okay? And remember, you have to ask yourself, number, case, and gender. So first thing, you got to ask yourself, what gender is this word? Third declension, but what gender?
That's masculine.
Why are you guessing masculine?
I'm going to say it's neuter.
Okay,
It's
well
just
we have...
journey.
Okay.
It's ER.
Right, it's ER, so you think masculine, but it was an exception.
It's-
Okay? It is neuter.
Yeah.
Okay? So it was just, remember, as we're learning these and we get these exceptions, well, this is one of these exceptions. This word is neuter. Now, they give it to you like this and said deal with this. Okay? So your clue that this was a neuter noun could have been
The E.
the E. Remember, that is the neuter termination, not the masculine feminine. Okay, so that helps you to know that's a neuter noun. So now put in the ablative singular, nominative plural, and genitive plural. So short, what do you think about this one? Short, should we put it first or last? It seems like quantity to me, short, right? So we'll put it first. Okay. So okay, so we want to put an ablative singular. Robin, what ending do you think needs to be there?
I checked out a long time ago.
Oh, she checked out. That's okay, just turn to your page. See, we can look. Sometimes. Brewi, right? Letter I. Okay, brewi. Now how about here? Itiner. No, it's I. Remember, ablative singular only in your adjective. It's the letter E. Itinere. Okay, so we got that. Okay, brewi itinere. Okay, how about plural? Ooh, remember it's neuter. So what are we going to have here? That's really close. Because we know nominative plural always ends in A in the neuters. But remember, in this one, I don't know if you caught it,
Oh, it's
brevia. Okay, it's got IA in the neuter. Okay, brevia, but how about here? Is there an IA?
No.
Itinera. Okay, and now how about genitive plural?
brevium.
Ugh. We'll say brevium itinerum. Good. Okay? And you know you're gonna study this on your own. I'm not your only teacher. You're your best teacher. Remember that. Okay? As you read it, as you study it, as you do the exercises and you self-correct your exercises, that's how you're gonna learn. As you do English to Latin, you'll learn the most, but it also, you spend the most time. So in a summer like this, you don't have a lot of time for English to Latin. Okay? Now, there's a page in this book that is the trickiest page in this book, and we have it this week. But we'll be done with it. Okay? So I want you to turn to page 85. Okay? And you'll read this carefully like 5 times. Okay? And I hope I can make this clear. And if not,
3 lessons this week?
what?
We're doing 3 lessons this week.
We are. Sorry, but lesson 6 is like a baby. It's just a few new words. So don't be nervous about this. Okay, now remember we said that adjectives modify, they describe nouns, right? Look at the vocab on page 85. Do those look like adjectives? Okay. Cupidas, aum. Is that a first, second declension adjective or a third declension adjective? First, second, right? It has us, aum. How about plenus, aum? First, second. How about finitimus, aum? First, second. How about similis, Okay, so you got these 4 adjectives. They're going to agree with their nouns. Okay? Just like we've been doing. Nothing. But these 4 silly adjectives take cases. Okay? And you have to remember what cases these silly adjectives take. For instance, cupidas aum takes what case? Okay, and I really like to think of these like how prepositions take cases. Think of that like this. These adjectives take cases. So, whatever someone is eager for or desirous of is in the genitive case. Okay? Or whatever we are, plenus means full. Whatever we're full of, what case will that go with? Genitive or ablative. And I've had a question, I don't know who it was from. Was it you? Okay. Which one? Which one? Well, if you're doing it from English to Latin, it doesn't matter. Okay? You just have to be able to recognize, though, that it could take either one. And there's no rhyme or reason. Okay? It'll take one or the other. Okay? What about finitimus? Dative case. Wow. Because next to, right? Neighboring. But then sometimes they'll use neighboring, and there's no to there to tell you dative case. So when you're making out your flashcards, you just want to write down with the genitive case, with the dative, with the ablative case. Okay? So this tends to be the most confusing part of this book. And as I've tutored and taught, this is almost what comes back wrong all the time. I don't know why.
So are you saying that these adjectives, you don't decline them, they're always in the same case?
Oh, you decline them just like your nouns. So just like nouns, they're declined. Okay, but they take a case. So the noun that relates to it will be in a certain case in the genitive case or the genitive ablative. Would you like to look at some for examples? Would that help? Go ahead. What's your question?
The noun that's the subject, or that this is the predicate adjective for, or the noun that is the object of the preposition.
Okay.
It's going with it.
Yeah, it's not really, I hate to use the word object of the preposition because these aren't prepositions.
Okay,
They're
but
objects
in
of the...
English, we have, like, he is eager for power. For
Oh, I
power
see.
would be a preposition.
Oh, I
Is
see.
it that object power that
Yes.
has to match,
No,
or that takes...
that
is
takes the case. Right.
before?
So let's just say, Caesar, we'll make up our own sentence. Caesar is eager for war. We know all these words, right? Okay, so what's our subject? I do this all the time. Oh, okay. It wasn't in the right case, by the way. Okay, so what's our subject?
Kaiser.
Okay, Kaiser, what's our verb? Is. Okay, what's our adjective? Eager. Okay, so this is, let me hear it louder.
It's a
The
predicate.
predicate adjective because this is our linking verb. Okay, so what case is this going to be in? It is a nominative because the adjectives will agree. See, your adjective is going to agree. Okay? Now, what case does this word eager take?
Genitive.
So, this word is in the genitive case. It's what he's eager for is going to be in the genitive case. So let's do that. Kaiser asked
Oh.
Cupid, yes.
Cupid does, right? Singular, masculine, nominative. Now, what case we put more in? Genitive.
Belly.
So, who's got it? Did you say it?
Belly.
Belly. Right? Okay, do you see how that works?
Okay, so you weren't saying that you put the adjective in the genitive case, you were saying.
No, the adjective has to agree with your noun, but it
That's
takes, I know, and it's always confusing. Okay, so let's look at some, okay? For instance, look at exercise 99, number 1, okay? Except we're out of time, so let's just look at this one, and then we have to be done. Okay, the camp is full of swords. They give you most of the answer. Okay, do you see where I'm at? Okay, I'm on page 87, exercise 99, number 1. The camp is full of swords. Castra plena sunt. Okay. What case does plena take? Genitive or ablative. So what are the two choices there?
It'll be genitive.
Okay, so, okay, gladiorum or gladiis.
Doesn't matter, right?
No,
Gladiorum. Either one. I mean, they both are right. They're both right. Do you see how plena agrees with castra? They're both nominative, plural, neuter. Okay? So those are what agree, and then those special adjectives take cases. Okay? Anyway, I'm really open to lots of questions about that through the week, if you have any.
Isn't sunt plural?
Yes?
Yes, sunt is plural, 'cause
But it's the camp.
Well,
but camp is plural.
camp is, remember, that was chapter 6. We learned that camp and baggage are always plural. Okay, so that's why that chapter, you just want to make a special note of some of those special words. That was, I really liked your thinking there to see, isn't there a problem here? Okay, good. The enemy often does that also. So,
The enemy's just really
the word
good.
enemy. We use it in singular, collective singular, but you have to have a plural verb with it. Even though in English we're saying the enemy is in the camp. It's hoste sunt. Okay, just like castra sunt. Okay? Anyway, thank you. Okay? I forget. I think I go like that. Okay. Okay, got that one done.